How's the royal family? I pray that everyone is doing well. For my royal family, back home, and I don't know what the hell gonna happen, but I will share my experience for the last 3 days. Truly an eye-opener, my royal family. So before I get into my own individual personal experience, and I didn't experience any fire, but I did have an experience, my royal family. So let's go over here first. I got a few videos. You know, I like to show the videos, my royal family. And I was somewhat keeping up with current events. I was sleepy and I needed my sleep, and I'm sleepy now. I'm supposed to be in the bed, but I need to get back into my grind and render my voice and my visions with the royal family and what I felt. So let's go over here a little bit. Powerful winds could fan devastating wildfires in California. Live update. Yes. Super long article. And what do they have going here? Wildfire have burned an area more than twice the size of San Francisco and destroyed nearly 60 homes. More than that, my royal family. You know how the enemy like to lie on their paper. 6 days after the fire first ignited, firefighters were scrambling to put out hot spots in hopes of getting an upper hand before wind gusts reached as high as 50 miles per hour. It was higher than that. In some areas, my royal family, it was 100. Yes, it was. Let's see here. In Southern California, where high winds fueled the Giddy Fire in the early morning hours Monday, authorities are manning their fire line with an additional personnel. Wonder what the personnel is. They're getting folks from the correctional department where they put folks in jail, men and women. It's women out there fighting those fires too, my royal family, from California state prisons. They ain't gonna tell you about that. We know that they are making $1 a day. Don't lose sight that when they are out there fighting those fires, they have to be trained exactly like the firefighters that make 100,000 plus in California. As we continue on, let's see here. Yeah, their concern is they predict gusts of up to 80 miles per hour. Like I said, I'm saying, you know what I'm saying, what I'm saying. Let's see here. This is what I ran into. Well, it wasn't a malfunction. This shit was just shut down. PG&E said 2 fires that broke out Sunday in Lafayette, less than 20 miles of northeast of San Francisco, may have been caused by its own electrical malfunctions. Okay, despite cutting power to more than 2.5 million people, the electricity was not turned off in the area because it wasn't designated a high risk. Check this out. Like I said, if you see this long ass article, check this out. My oldest daughter, who I was very concerned about, because she's pregnant and she's asthmatic. My daughter lives straight in the hood, and this is the second round. We on the second phase in California of shutting off the lights. I called her. She said, Mommy, we cool. Do you hear what I'm saying? This is the second round. And then second phase, of cutting off lights. And my daughter said, Mommy, we cool. Something about living in that hood, huh? Well, my radio family, let's get into these videos. And then I will tell you my own personal experience. And I'm not complaining. I can't complain. There are people out there that are suffering. Good folks, Good folks. Let's see what's going on here.
Let's get to those fires in California where powerful new winds could bring more devastation to parts of the state already ravaged by wildfires. Crews battling the massive Kincaid fire in Northern California's wine country fear the wind could fan the flames. It has burned an area more than twice the size of San Francisco and destroyed nearly 60 homes. Jonathan Vigliotti is in Healdsburg, California. Jonathan, good morning. So many people there are living without power?
Yeah, that's correct. Good morning to you, Tony. Even with the power cut off, I want to show you what some homes face. The flames ripping through this one and many others. This is the outside of it. Through there, you can see what we believe was the living room. About 500,000 people at this hour are still in the dark. Many more evacuated, don't even know the fate of their homes. As this state faces a climate crisis, PG&E says their only option here has been to turn off this power. But now the state is investigating the utility strategy and the threat it poses to the people caught in the middle of it.
California's largest utility, PG&E, now says 2 fires that broke out Sunday less than 20 miles northeast of San Francisco in Lafayette, including one that destroyed this tennis club, may have been caused by its own electrical malfunctions. Despite cutting power to more than 2.5 million people, the electricity was not turned off in the area because it wasn't designated as high risk.
If we did go into a mode where we wanted to prevent everything from happening, then we'd have to shut the whole system down, and that's just not acceptable.
The utility also says it failed to notify 23,000 customers, including 500 with medical conditions, before shutting off their power.
We're going to investigate all of this, and we're going to make a determination as culpability.
6 days after the Kincaid fire first ignited, firefighters are scrambling to put out hotspots in hopes of getting an upper hand before wind gusts reaching as high as 50 miles an hour kick up again.
The wind will carry burning materials sometimes miles ahead of the fire. So we're having to go around and one by one deal with those and mitigate those dangers as they pop up, which is always a difficulty, it being dynamic and not just a set fire line.
In Southern California, where high winds fueled the Getty fire in the early morning hours Monday, authorities are manning their fire lines with additional personnel. Their concern, predicted gusts of up to 80 miles an hour.
I've asked my command staff to do everything possible to ensure that the line is as cold as possible before those winds kick up.
And with the wind expected to pick up later today, PG&E is already warning they could conduct their third power cut in less than 1 week. Gail, that means nearly 4 million people could be in the dark.
Boy, Jonathan, those pictures are unbelievable. We look at you standing there in the quiet and the darkness, and you see the flames. You think of the people who are fighting the fires, what they have to breathe, and the smoke and the heat. It's terrifying, really, to watch it. Thank you very much.
All right, let me shut this down. All right, let me shut this down, and let's continue on my royal family. I'm gonna skip that for a reason, but I'm gonna play this because I'm gonna point something up that I've been talking about to the royal family. So it looked like LeBron James and his family got caught up. I seen a couple of celebrities pictures that got caught up in this. So let's see. Let's get into this.
With all of California now under a state of emergency, and the fire battle is even tougher tonight. The latest fire broke out in the hills north of Santa Monica near Los Angeles. More than 10,000 homes and businesses were evacuated as an explosive fire blasted flames 6 stories high. Farther north in Sonoma County, the Kincaid fire has burned an area 2 times the size of the city of San Francisco and forced about 185,000 people from their homes. Power is out tonight to about 1 million homes and businesses in the state. Carter Evans leads us off tonight at the Getty Fire near Los Angeles.
Southern Californians woke up to powerful winds and towering flames up to 60 feet high in a fire season that's been relentless.
Crazy, absolutely crazy.
This man was driving on Interstate 405, one of the nation's busiest freeways. In the surrounding hills, some of LA's most exclusive neighborhoods. Fire crews had to navigate narrow canyon roads amid a blizzard of ash.
The goal right now for these firefighters, for the most part, is going to be to keep these flames from spreading to other homes.
And to get residents out.
As immediate sudden as this, hey, we have a fire, it's fast moving, it's time to move.
Among those who had just minutes to flee, LeBron James, who tweeted, "These LA fires are no joke, had to emergency evacuate my house." And Arnold Schwarzenegger, who called firefighters true action heroes. 1,100 firefighters were able to save all but a handful of homes. California's worst fire remains to the north, where the so-called Kincaid fire has now devoured an area twice the size of San Francisco. It's destroyed 96 buildings, including one of the state's oldest wineries, a devastating blow to the region's economy. 185,000 people remain evacuated in Sonoma County, overwhelming local shelters.
I'm thinking, is this what we're going to go through every summer now? It's kind of scary when, it almost seems like one is worse than the one behind it.
For now, winds have calmed across the state, but all it takes is one stray ember for new intense flare-ups.
Carter joins us tonight, and Carter, thinking about those firefighters who've been working around the clock, any sense they will get a break from these winds?
Nora, they have been very busy. In one 20-hour period, California firefighters have knocked down 330 fires, and now they've just got a few short hours before the wind picks up again. Here in Southern California, they're calling for the strongest wind event this year.
Carter, thank you.
So, my royal family. Now, this is something that I want to point out. So, I have been saying that I did a video, I think 2 weeks ago, in regards to these fires. And they had various personnel come out. And I didn't realize there were so many different fire agencies. So you had all these different people speaking in their uniforms, and they were different colors to indicate what agencies they come from. So, they get up and speak and talk about, I'm from this department and this agency and my rank and all that kind of crap. And I had a vision right then and there. And I have often said to the royal family that I rarely, and I can't even recall ever so far getting a vision while I sleep. I can just be going about my day. And what hit me, my royal family, is that I said, I see what our father Yahweh is putting Esau through. And they are in charge of a dying system. This is all an illusion, my royal family, and I'm not talking down to anyone. I talk to you with the utmost respect. And I said, our father is going to keep Esau exhausted, because throughout America, each state deal with their own unique set of natural disasters, or disasters, unquote. We got disasters. They don't necessarily have to be natural at all. That since they are control freaks and glory hogs, that he's going to keep them quite exhausted while they are trying to contain whatever they're trying to contain, and making these predictions also. And the question that I'm going to just show you a snippet of this video is a good example of what I'm talking about, that Esau, they have what I call a false illusion. before we get into it, let's try to look at these fires. A false illusion that their own is keeping everything contained. You know, they feel quite smug in their positions. They feel quite smug that they are literally murdering the entire royal family in the streets of America. And, you know, their attitude is they are put there in place to keep us contained and whatever else has to be contained. And in their little quaint neighborhoods, they are untouchable. And throughout America, it is quite noticeable that these disasters throughout America has damn near exclusively touched the wealthy communities. And I mean, they get slammed. It's quite noticeable. And I don't know when the statement was made, but Esau had the nerves to fix their mouth to say that our father is a nigger lover when it comes to these disasters. You would think your house is burning down and you still got evil shit on your conscience. But see, that shit is deep in their core, my royal family. They don't simply get it. So while they're running through California trying to contain everything, on the flip side, you know, they are contemplating banning the Bible. I heard that when I was in junior high school, and they still on that. They got numerous people in the royal family locked up, innocent folks. They had a brother that I was watching a video about who spent 6 years in jail, and innocent brother, young brother, and the state of California has to pay him $13 million. And what was so unique about his story was that Kamala Harris, greasy, you know, Kamala Harris, the one who fucked her way and sucked her way to the top, came there to hear the verdict of this brother, was gleeful that they said guilty, and then came back a few weeks later to hear the sentence that he got. And I think they had sentenced him to 51 years or something along the line. All the evidence was manufactured against him, and the people who manufactured it, they allowed them to retire and to get their pension. That's an example of how greasy and grimy California is. And these stories are not unique, my royal family. This is going on throughout America, you know. And all of this has been prophesied. Now, since we are the only ones that have a true soul, and we fully understand what karma means, we will think when multiple disasters happen in our individual lives, where I've been fucking up, who I've been messing over. I need to cut that shit out. Those interpersonal conversations that we have with thyself, you know, things that we'll say, I'm not going to do that because that's going to bring karma on my individual family. So basically what I'm saying, my royal family, even with all these disasters that's going on in California, Esau continues to keep up with their greasy, grimy, corrupted ways. They will not stop at all. But it will stop. It will eventually. And our Father, the divine hand, has truly came down. The way like I said, I'm looking at all of this spiritual. This is truly biblical. I made this prediction 3 years ago. I said everything that we will see will be in biblical proportions. Now, all of that statement for a 20 9-second statement.
Again, that's the question was, when is full containment estimated, and when do you think the fire will be completely out and not smoldering? We tentatively believe the fire will be contained November 7th. Again, that is our best estimate based on models and projections. As far as when every smoking stump may be extinguished, that could be weeks, if not months, really just because the amount of fuel that we have in such heavy vegetation.
Basically, Esau does not know at all. That's what basically Esau is saying. But they live on that. They thrive on that. They hold on to that. Now, something that I had intended to bring up. Let me go back here. Okay, here we go. Let me see here. Let me bring up one so we can see the headlines. Let's see if we can find the headlines on one of these. Oh, here is one right here. Not gonna play the video. Just want to point something out. You see that 40 acres on that title. Remember that other video that I did before everything really started getting in real intense. I had seen in different news outlets, they basically was either saying just 40 acres or a little over 40 acres were burnt down so far, or they even went as far as saying those 40 acres was contained. And I have been saying to the royal family that y'all know I trip off of the numbers, the colors and symbols and everything, and you can find all your answers in the word only, that it has a meaning. And 3 years ago, I said, wow, our Father is leaving messages and titles. But what I did not do was, sometimes I get excited too. I did not take the time to find out what does 40 mean in the word. Now, we have heard about 40 days and 40 nights and all those type of things in the word. So 40 has been used quite frequently. Well, so here, the meaning of 14. So the number generally symbolize a period of testing. Now that is deep. A period of testing, trial, or probation. During Moses' life, he lived 40 years in Egypt and 40 years in the desert before God selected him to lead his people out of slavery. Isn't that ironic, my royal family? I will make sure, because I think that y'all can pull up the articles on your own, but I'm going to only put the link to this, since I'm always mentioning different numbers and stuff, that and so we can get an understanding, because there's messages that our Father is telling us, and we know a lot of them, but we need to be reminded, because we are affected by the system and get caught up in the system too. This is very important, my royal family, that we don't know the moment, the day, the hour, or literally the second when our Father, when that wrath is going to come down. That is deep to me. So, what did it says here? Wow, this is deep. I'm gonna read this one part. The land Yah promised the Israelites as an inheritance. That is deep, and it's all related to the number 40 again. Basically, the number 440 generally symbolize a period of testing. Let me see if I can click on that. Let me see what more I can find about this testing. Okay, y'all need to also click into that word testing, and we can read some examples of being tested. This is something that we need to go over. And I'm just doing this on the spur of a moment. I have not taken the time. And I did click this on the other day and still did not, now I think about it, did not take the time to study. So that's something that I need to do individually. We all individually got to do our work. But I did get a little bit deeper in this. And just to show you how deep our Father truly is. Let me see. Let me go back. 40. It went to 17 because I'm always on 17. Let me see. What else do we have in here? Let's see. Okay, down here. This is deep. Additional info on the biblical meaning of 40. The Bible was written by 40 different people. Didn't know that. Those called of Yah now are under probation or judgment based on how they live by every word of Yah. Deep. See, my ultimate goal, my royal family, and I'm going by how I individually have been being led, and we're all being led in different ways. And I pray that we stay in tune, because this is where we do have to come together and share to not redirect not put our energy into Esau's system, and redirect our energy in the most trying times, my royal family, back to Yahweh. And I was saying that a couple of nights ago when I did a video. I don't know what video it is, but people were reacting to the fact that they had appealed Amber Geiger's case. We already knew this, and a lot of people were getting upset, and I said, we haven't learned our lesson. So far, I said, I have learned my lesson, and I pray that I continue and not slip and fall. But if I do, I'll get back up. That I have often said that when things get beyond me, I redirect my energy and focus back on our Father. You know, that's when we are losing faith, and we are having faith in the system to just do right. Period. Our Father said he was a jealous God. And what he is saying, I'm going to tap y'all on the asses too. You ain't got enough punishment, because he can bring some punishment in our individual lives. He keep his word, my royal family. I cannot emphasize it enough to you. Just when those few days that we spend in the hotel, I was talking to my husband, a commercial came on. They said 17. 17 came up on that TV so much, he just dropped his head. He was watching the game. He kept seeing a dude run around with the number 17. And because he know I'm going to acknowledge it, because it's not going to ever be new to me. And this experience I had was almost 4 years ago. I continue to acknowledge our Father. He told me that I would see it every day, but he didn't tell me I would hear it from time to time. That's his sense of humor. That lets me know that a few things. It shows that I am keeping the faith, but more so than that, he is showing that he's coming for his babies. Victory is here, my royal family. I have to go the way that I am led. I know they say, damn, she was supposed to be talking about fires. I am. but I'm talking about the messages within these fires. So as we continue on. Okay. Let me see, is this the right one? No, we already took care of this one. Let me make sure. Yeah, same one. Over here. Let's see here. I think it's oh yeah, here it is.
Yeah, it's sad because so many families don't have homes to return to. At least 8 homes were destroyed in this neighborhood. You can see this one is ragtagged. And if you look through here, you can actually see through that entire house. There's some charred Halloween decorations outside right there. But according to LAFD's latest update last night, the Getty fire has not increased in size and is about 5% contained at this hour. We know the fire erupted yesterday at 1:30 in the morning. That happened along the 405 freeway and the Sepulveda Pass, and it has charred more than 600 acres since then. It destroyed at least 8 homes and damaged several in the hills of Brentwood where we are. And we saw several families just racing out of the neighborhood yesterday morning as that fire moved in.
It was terrifying because their house, I mean, we can see it from a lot of the overhead shots. We can see that the flames are basically in their backyard. And so it was just kind of touch and go to see if their house was going to still be standing.
And so let's talk about evacuations because thousands of people remain under mandatory evacuations at this hour. So if you need to check, go to LAFD.org, then go to alerts, and then scroll down to the Getty Fire evacuation update. And there you can find real-time updates. Areas in red are still under a mandatory evacuation. They have been all morning so far. And then areas in yellow, that's west of Temescal Canyon. You should be prepared to leave at a moment's notice. We just looked and we saw one firefighter or crew firefighters actually still out here spraying one home. And since we've been here for the last 2 hours or so, we have seen some helicopters in the air still conducting some water drops. So we know they're still monitoring the area. There's still crews out here in the hills of Brentwood.
Well, that's the end of that, my royal family. And as we continue on, now I will tell y'all what I and my family personally experienced. We were not in no fires. And the area that I live in, I live in the hills, but there is a valley in front of me. None of the valley was on fire. But 2 days ago, the fires got so intense. There were fires north of me and south of me. And when I was on Lisa's live stream, because I had to call her in on the phone, I said, I have to earnestly admit to the royal family, I'm concerned. And so after all that went past, I was looking out the window from the hotel and I was looking at another valley and it had a cloudy look, but you could still see the houses. So a few hours passed and I went in the hall of the hotel and there was a big bay window and the sun was starting to fade a bit. And so then, and then when I stepped out, the halls had a very strong smell of fire. Real strong. Didn't smell it at first. And so I went back in the hotel room and looked back at that valley and you could barely see any of the houses. And in fact, the next day you couldn't see anything. So I hadn't been sleeping. I was relaxed, very relaxed. And around about 1-ish in the morning, this is what I was looking at on the news. An image like this. It was more like this. I'm not saying it was exactly this particular. Let me see here. In fact, I'll play it. It's better to play it. I'll just play it for y'all. In fact, this says 3 days ago. It's amazing. But let's get a visual.
Fox News alert now, tens of thousands of Californians evacuated from their homes as multiple fast-moving wildfires burn up and down the state. The Kincaid fire tearing through Northern California sparked at the same time a transmission tower malfunctioned, despite PG&E cutting power to the area. Claudia Cowan's live in Geyserville, near where those flames supposedly started. Claudia?
And good morning, Sandra. Rubble and blackened trees line the windy roads here in Geyserville. This is one of 49 structures destroyed when the Kincaid fire just roared through this area the other night, burning the equivalent of a football field in length every 3 seconds. This fire has now grown to more than 16,000 acres and is just 5% contained. It has taken out 21 homes so far. Fortunately, everyone has been accounted for and no one's been hurt. With better weather on tap for today, there is a window of opportunity for firefighters to get the upper hand before the winds pick up again. And that means a relentless air attack with multiple air tankers, helicopters, and modified airplanes. Those drops will allow ground crews to get in there and build containment lines. More than 1,000 firefighters are on it. Still not known what sparked this fire, but Pacific Gas and Electric says just minutes before it started, there was some kind of an equipment malfunction. Officials called it a broken jumper on one of its transmission towers near the fire's origin, which was not turned off during PG&E's public safety power outage. The utility has filed an electrical incident report with state regulators about this, but notes CAL FIRE investigators will ultimately determine the cause. Crews also busy in Southern California, where fires have been fueled by fierce Santa Ana winds. The so-called Tick Fire has burned about 4,000 acres so far and wiped out half a dozen homes north of Los Angeles. At least 40,000 people remain under evacuation orders there. Here in Sonoma County, nearly 2,000 residents still have no idea when they'll be allowed to go home. Might not be until next week, because the winds arriving here tomorrow night are expected to be much more ferocious than what we have already seen this week, and will almost certainly trigger another round of blackouts, impacting even more customers. It will be the third time this month that PG&E has pulled the plug in the name of wildfire prevention. Sandra?
Isn't that ironic that they said they're pulling the plug on wildfire prevention, and the fires that we are having are biblical, historical, and they are bigger and bigger. They are outdoing themselves. So remember, that was 3 days ago, and let me do a little hunting here. Let's see. Okay. Stop right there. So I'm laying in the dark, and I'm looking at this. I'm looking at this on the news, and it wasn't Sonoma, but it was actually Brentwood, California. And I was like, damn. And so when they were talking about the fires that came out of nowhere like a thief in the night, and they were utterly shocked. And I was looking at it, and I was like, wow, this looks like hell itself. And I wasn't frightened. I was just looking at it, taking it all in at real time. And I was like, amazing. And, but I pay close attention to language, my royal family. We all have different occupations and fields that we have worked in or are still working, and many know that I'm a certified welder, and I know a lot, trust and believe, a lot about fires. And one thing that they are not telling you, first thing, that lie that they just told about, they basically said how that particular fire started in whatever particular region, and they said it had something to do with maybe a power line or whatever they were saying. You cannot know, because you would have to go to the source, and they cannot get to the source while they are putting out the fires. Pay attention to language, very close to language. And another thing that they are not going to tell you, what we'll call the perfect storm, is that that, and it can even happen, but it don't happen as often, but it can happen even in the summertime, is that you can have dry weeds rubbing up against each other, and say the winds are intense, where there are oil even in dry weeds, and if they rub together enough, they can start a fire. And it does not necessarily mean it has to be hot, but if it is a hot day, the chances are much greater and higher for that fire to start in regions like this that I'm showing the royal family. We got to educate each other on this. Anything that anybody know about anything, share it. They act like we don't know a damn thing. And so when I was looking at that, I was just like, wow. When I said it was biblical, I said it, and many have said something similar. And I was, having that conversation with my husband, and I was saying, in Esau's world, they got it contained. But the ones that are up front and close with it know that they don't have anything in control or contained. That is their nature. And they are not going to tell their own, my royal family, we can't handle it. You're on your own. We've been on our own, which it doesn't frighten overall the royal family, because we always have been on our own. That's why I always talk about we have been won the war, and I had pinpointed when we've been won it. We ain't never had a system to depend on. Now, we got some brain dead Negroes that think any decision or anything that's done, they are included. Now, we've been throughout the years getting messages and samples that we are on our own. Let's never lose sight of Katrina. I knew even then, I knew what to do in a disaster. And so anyway, me and my husband were talking, and we could even see individually in our family where we got to tighten up our game too. Me and my husband know better, given our backgrounds. He was an iron worker for 40 years, that we could see we've been lackadaisical and slipping. Even though we do have things set up here for ourselves, we got to tighten up. So when I was talking to Lisa about this the other day, I said, I'm encouraging anybody out here to make videos, and we are in all different states. We need to start putting out videos, telling our families how to contain and save themselves with their individual families, and supplies that we need to get, and different things that we need to do, and discussions that we need to have with our individual families. I'm committed to it. I showed one safety video, and I didn't keep my word, and that was like 3 years ago. But I have often said also that it will take things like this for us to start realizing I got to get on my grind and getting my mind right. And all we can do is worry about our own. And we have been through many things in America. Last message that I want to leave to Esau and Esau alone. Y'all had no problem doing the things that y'all did to us once we were released from physical slavery. And your jealous nature, your pure evil ass, hated the fact that we thrive so quickly. And your inadequate ass men didn't like the fact that some of them had to bow and scrape and ask one of our kings can I work for you? See, they're not going to talk about these things, my royal family. There was more than one Rosewood. There was more than one. And they went and tried to burn up as many of our little towns and little cities. And we were taking care of ourselves. And they just couldn't take it that we were thriving more than them. So they proceed to burn us out, take all our businesses, take our lands, run us to other states, slaughter the entire family like you're doing now, continue to hang our men on trees. And the symbolic message to that, and I learned that through Lisa, was Yahushua died or were displayed on a tree, not a cross. You see what I'm seeing, my royal family? There are so many messages in one subject. And many of them will dismiss that. And we have seen so far when they are interviewing people that have been affected by it, they always interview the enemy. And trust and believe, there are a lot of us out in these communities, but not on a great abundance. Not on a great abundance at all. So Esau, I said a long time ago when I spoke into the universe, and I was very clear, and I also told my royal family that's listening to these videos too as well, be very clear when you speak into the universe. I said you will not get no rest. You will not get no sleep. You will be restless to the bitter end. We have just begun, Esau. Our father is very hurt and very angry how you punish his babies. Now, we were due for a punishment, but you took it way too far. And you want to keep this illusion going. I do not know any empire, Esau, that lasted forever. But what's so unique about your empire was it only lasts a few short centuries. Our empires last for hundreds and thousands of years before we came foolish. But your foundation is set on our backs. Our blood is in the soil of America. And you are feeling just the inkling of your punishment. You laid this foundation, and anytime a foundation is not set properly, eventually it will crack. And once it cracks, thousands of cracks run through it, and you cannot simply see it. And once you do feel it, it has completely collapsed underneath you. This is America, Esau. Our blood is soaked in the soil of America. A question I'd like to ask you, Esau. How do you dismiss 16 bullets? How do you justify killing one of our royal babies within 3 seconds? How do you justify whatever you justify? So those are called man-made laws. So your own will get you off. Well, our Father has his own laws. And I was taught by my father that everything that I'm teaching you is etched, you can etch it in stone. And our Father's laws are etched in stone. So you can play these delusional games like your leader play, like everything is A-OK, and it's not. Esau, have you heard anybody in the government, or have you heard from your leadership itself take the time to give words of encouragement just to you and you only about what's going on in America? Unquote, California. He ain't said one damn word. He don't give a damn about your immediate situation, because he's worried about saving his own individual ass. You are a non-motherfucking factor. Your leader will step on you and your babies, or whatever it takes for him and his individual family to gratify their immediate situation. You are ass out, Esau. Totally. Karma is a true bitch. So since your foundation has totally collapsed under you, what are you going to do now, Esau? Where are you going to go now, Esau? Stay away from us. Now I'm speaking to the royal family. When they do come at us, my royal family, they're going to be coming at us with "we shall overcome" by any means necessary. All those talking points that we use. No, you gave up your hand. That let us know you're full of shit and you scared and you looking for us to rescue you. We were told long ago to be separate. We must be. And this is a great time, my royal family, to do exactly that and stay out of Esau affairs. We have to collectively deal with our immediate situation. And our IQ don't elevate enough to satisfy or take care of Esau. We just too simply dumb to deal with their issues. So it is what it is. So Esau, go talk to your leader and see how your leader will help you, or your leader representatives. See, will they take care of your immediate situation? And once some of y'all realize, because some of y'all already realize, oh, we must not do this to these folks, and you start praying and repenting, he is not hearing you. So if you truly understand what happened to the royal family, when we prayed and begged and plead our own father, he turned his back. He wouldn't listen to his babies, as bad as it hurt. So what make you think that you ain't gonna get a turn? Really think about that. We are the chosen ones, and we was dealt with. So Esau wants to be rescued. Don't be surprised, my royal family, when you see them really wailing in the streets of America. And we're getting samples, like when that Becky got knocked on her ass and she grabbing for the cell phone. Nobody didn't come quick enough. I seen a white man look and went on about his business. Her world came tumbling down on her right there. Like, I'm an opportunist to catch moments like that. And she had another person right there with her. That bitch knew to step back, because when our queen was talking, that was the creator himself talking through her. It was like, what are you gonna do now? You get on that cell phone trying to call your personal bodyguard. They tired of you. Becky, you have no value in your own community. You a barren bitch. Your man been tired of you. You done aborted so many of his babies. You the one that raised these mass shooters. So, you are feeling it as I speak, Becky. You're the first. Go get your man. See how quickly he get you out of it. He getting his ass whooped too. There were many Rosewoods. Many. I'll leave it there, my royal family. Render your voice with your beautiful divine words. And as always, my royal family, I thank you for your love. I thank you for your support. And with that said, Ashe.